Welcome to A Shot of Ag. My name is Rob Sharkey. I'm a fifth-generation farmer from just outside of Bradford, Illinois. It's not America's sport, but it should be. Football, the gridiron, men being men. But what happens when one of those gridiron warriors is now farming? Well, we're sure going to invite him on this show. Today, we're going to be talking with Cody White. How you doing, Cody?
Doing well. How you guys doing?
Doing fine. You're from Aurora, Illinois.
Maroa. Hard A.
Okay, not sure what you were saying there for a second. Where is that?
We are just about 30 minutes directly north of Decatur, Illinois, where the Farm Progress Show is.
Yeah.
Every other year or so.
Is that where you're from originally?
Originally from Bloomington, Norma, Illinois, which is just a little bit further north of that.
Okay. You were big into playing chess at what, ISU?
Yeah, chess team, top. No chess for me. No chess.
So you played football professionally. We'll kind of go chronologically. I mean, like growing up, did you always good at sports?
Yeah. I mean, the good Lord blessed me with some abilities and, some size and different things,
Yeah.
So I was always drawn to sports and just was usually, one of the better players and tried to carry that on.
You moved around quite a bit as a kid, right?
Yes. Let's see here. We born in Ohio, moved to Indiana, over to Pennsylvania, first stop in Illinois, out to Colorado, out to Arizona, then ended up in Illinois by the time I was in fourth grade. So all those were about 2 years we'd up and leave. So.
Okay. Playing sports, I assume, helped make friends. I mean, that's how you kind of make friends, right? Especially if you're good, everybody's going to like you.
Yeah, it makes the transition really easy, especially as a young kid. Those first time you're trying to figure out how to introduce yourself and you get friends and you leave them and, as you're coming along as a kid. So playing sports opened a lot of doors, made the transition easy. If you're good at something, people start to pay attention, kind of want to be your friend a little bit. So that helped me maybe get some friends.
Has it always been football?
It wasn't always football. It was pretty heavy basketball.
Yeah, you're tall. How tall are you?
So I'm 6'4".
Okay.
And honestly, basketball was my first love. I mean, I played football. I started at 7. And then once I quit growing and not too many 6'3", 6'4" white guys are playing in the NBA, I decided to focus heavily on football probably about my sophomore year of high school.
Yeah.
So I had to make a decision I wanted to go play at a higher level in that sport.
Do you have a good high school program?
We did. We actually had when I came in as a freshman, we had a coaching change. The program actually had not been doing very well, and we had some good coaches come in, guys I still stay in touch with, and I was helped kind of rewrite the ship of that program. So that was a lot of fun, and we've continued to have success. Perennial playoff team. Stuff like that. So
yeah, well, a lot of people may not realize. I mean, you take someone even with like your talent, and you put them in a program that doesn't have a good weight program, doesn't have good trainers, and it's probably not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you ever, get a chance, if you have a good high school program in your area, or really go see what the coach is doing behind the scenes, because that's really what drives the program. You can get some talent put on the field, but a lot of these top tier programs, their weights, they got guys showing up for weights, guys are doing well in school, they're punctual on time, just a lot of behind the scenes stuff that actually can bring you to that next level. So
the decision to play for Illinois State, what was a driving factor in that?
I took a couple of visits. I had some options, some scholarship offers, so I took my visits and went and saw the towns, met the coaches. Really for me, it was just the school. I enjoyed the school. It was a bigger school, but still had a smaller feel. The coaches, I enjoyed the coaches when I took my visit. They were coming off a couple successful seasons in a row. And it just felt, that's just kind of that gut feeling. And we've talked about this before, but I mean, as 18-year-old, it's kind of a hard decision.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because it's dictating your future, and it's kind of a heavy decision. But I'm really happy I can look back at it and say I made a good choice.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty experienced with it because I watched the program back in the 90s, that great football movie. So, I mean, it's like they take you up to Kappa to take you to the nudie bars.
We weren't supposed to bring that one up.
They buy you a tractor and all that stuff. Is any of that true?
Oh man, some of those movies they get a little out there, but there is your official visits. You go out, the coaches turn you over. You have a host player, and they can try to lead you wherever your little heart desires. So,
okay, so you play there. That went well.
yes.
You guys, you did very well.
Yeah. I was fortunate to have really good coaches, really good strength coaches. I bought in and made a choice of, my level of play, what I wanted it to be, and, ended up having a good, pretty healthy career. So.
What position?
So I came in actually as a tight end. So I played tight end my first 2 years. And then, actually my redshirt freshman and sophomore year. So 3. And then moved to left tackle my junior year of my college career.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a significant change.
It was. I mean, I just kept in the weight room. They're feeding us. Just
Offensive
kept getting
tackle?
bigger. Offensive tackle, left
Okay.
tackle. So
it was
I
your
just
job.
kept putting on size and.
You didn't want people to get to the quarterback.
Yes,
Yeah.
that became my job. It was a little bit of blocking, a little bit of pass catching, and then it became protecting the quarterback.
When was this? Like, what year did you switch to offensive tackle?
This would have been 2010.
When did that movie come out with Sandra Bullock?
Oh, I think it was close to that time.
That's a great movie.
Blindside, it
Yeah.
was a good movie. Good story right there. That was a good movie.
Because all of a sudden, nobody ever pays attention to offensive tackles.
Only until you make a mistake.
Exactly. But every great team, their offensive line,
Yeah.
it never fails, but like they get no credit.
Yeah, and if you don't hear about the offensive line, that means things are usually going pretty good for you.
Okay, so did you play 4 years then?
Yeah, so 4 years. That redshirt freshman years, they redshirt you. You don't play on the field. It's kind of a,
Yeah.
improvement year. So.
So then what happens? Because, I mean, everybody knows about the draft and how that
Yeah.
works. What was your story?
Yeah, so teams were visiting. Teams are coming out talking to me.
Like pro teams?
Yeah. Scout. They send out scouts. They got scouts to go all over the nation and have certain regions and stuff. So.
Okay, not to interrupt you, but.
Yeah.
I didn't think that really happened, right? I mean, I thought they were like the specific high-end players at these big-name schools, but they're sending pro scouts out to ISU.
Yeah. Yes, they're sending out guys. They're always, the NFL, they're always kind of looking for those diamond in the rough guys because they're out there. Might not be at a school that's playing on national television every week or playing in high-level games, but there's a lot of really good players out there that just maybe developed later, didn't go to an Ohio State or Big Ten school and just developed later and become good pros in the long run. So they have, NFL teams have whole scouting departments broken up into regions, and they're going to all sorts of schools, every level.
Okay, that had to be exciting.
Yeah, it was exciting. Obviously, it was something I was working towards, and once those guys started sniffing around, asking about me, it kind of made things set in a little bit. Okay, this could be a reality for me, and just tried to keep doing what I was doing.
You are a massive individual, but I look at the tackles in the pros.
Oh yeah.
They kind of dwarf you.
So my playing weight. So I was, like we said earlier, I was 6'4". My playing weight was about 310, and I was on the smaller end of that scale.
That's something.
Yes.
Oof.
Yeah, you're talking about big athletic guys.
Yeah. Okay, so you weren't in the draft, but tell me how you got to the
Correct.
NFL.
Yeah, so I was what you'd call an undrafted free agent. Once the draft ends, there's 7 rounds of the NFL draft. And once that draft ends, there's kind of a whole nother scramble afterwards. So teams are kind of talking to you throughout the draft, and they're asking, you're picking up possible deals. Hey, we'll sign you after this. So really after the draft ends, your agent's talking to teams, you've been talking to teams, and there's a whole nother wave of contracts signed and agreements made. So there's a lot that goes on after that draft for a day or two, honestly.
So ended up in Texas.
Yep.
Was that the only option?
It wasn't the only option, but one of the good things about being an undrafted guy was I kind of got to pick my destination. So I was able to see how they drafted that year, where their holes were going into the draft on the offensive line, how they drafted, and how I'd fit in the scheme or fit into who was coming in.
I never thought about that.
It can make a world of difference in how long you can hang around.
You didn't want to go to a team that was like stacked with Pro Bowl tackles.
Right. So everybody, I mean, obviously I wanted to be drafted, but when it comes to the 7th round, you might go somewhere where it doesn't set you up for the most success you can have. So it kind of puts you in a tough spot. So, it was kind of a blessing to be undrafted guy, be able to choose my destination and get in where I fit in.
Okay. So they signed you. You made it.
Yep.
You were in the NFL. Was this like your dream? Like this is what you were striving for?
Yeah, I mean, ever since I can remember, I mean, I said basketball was one of my loves, but I mean, I loved football and dreamed about playing it also. And it was really surreal to be there. And all of a sudden you're walking in the locker room and you're teammates with Andre Johnson, who's going to be a Hall of Famer. I mean, you got J.J. Watt in there. You got these dudes, right, that you've been watching on TV that you looked up to, and now you're teammates. So, trying to figure out how to bring that back down, because really the work was just starting. But just how to handle yourself like a professional.
Yeah. Injury happened.
Yes.
Early on.
Yep.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. So we were going into my 3rd year. I was going into training camp. I kind of had a 3-year plan here, and by my 3rd year, I wanted to be trying to work myself into the starting lineup or into some rotation playing time.
Yeah.
And I finally had that opportunity. I opened up camp running with the ones on the offense at right guard, and couple days into camp, and we were in a team period. Ended up blowing out my Achilles tendon. Just kind of it was a play action pass, and I blocked down, and I thought the tackle threw his guy on me, and but come to find out, my Achilles just tore off, and I fell down, and once I got up and kind of hobbled off, I knew.
Could you even get up?
I couldn't. I tried to get up, and I was like, why? Because obviously you have a lot of adrenaline going, right? I mean, your adrenaline's
you
going.
Don't have an Achilles anymore.
But I didn't realize, because all I could hear in my head was my old college coach saying, get up, we don't lay on the ground.
Are you dead?
So I'm trying to get up, and my foot's not working. And finally, my teammates helped me up. And then I had another teammate who had actually done that the year before during the season. And once things kind of slowed down and settled in, and I didn't have to get my tape off and my cleat off, I knew, because your foot wasn't working. So, torn Achilles, ended my season there, and kind of ended everything.
Did you know that was it?
No, in my mind, I'm never out of it. I just, I felt sorry for myself for a little bit there, and then had surgery, and then just, I was going to rehab the best I could. And make sure I didn't leave anything on the table. So if it did come to an end, I could live with myself.
Yeah.
So it was really never over in my mind until it really was, where I had to make a choice. And it wasn't necessarily over, but I had to make a choice for me and for my family and where to go from that time.
It had to be heartbreaking.
It was. It was a really hard time, very lonely. Because one of the best things about football is locker room, the camaraderie with the guys, being a team, one goal, and all of a sudden you're on the outside looking in. You're in the training room alone. You're not at practice. You're not in all the meetings.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's a little bit different than NFL, because once you go on IR, you're kind of separated. I mean, you're not in everything. So it was a lonely time, mentally draining, fatiguing. So it took a lot. I mean, I ended up actually met up with the team offered a good kind of sports psychiatrist guy, and that made a world of difference for me, being able to talk to him and talk things out. And but it definitely increased my mental toughness.
when I first started farming, it did not go well. And
Yeah.
like immediately, my life dream of being a farmer, I thought was over. And it takes away your identity. I know there's some, for me, it was a lot of hubris and that, but it's like my identity was gone.
Yeah.
And I struggled with that so bad. Was that anything like?
That's a really good point you bring up right there, because yes, as much as I tried not to be my identity to be I'm a football player, it was.
Yeah.
And it was, I had to, eat, breathe, and sleep being a football player, and all my training, my whole life revolved around that to be able to be at the highest level I could be. So once that came to an end, that was really hard to deal with internally, and I didn't really know who I was for a little bit of a stretch there.
Yeah. You worked so hard for it.
Yeah. And it's just all of a sudden, your life is completely changed, and you have to figure out different goals, objectives, and yeah, you kind of lose your identity a little bit, and you have to figure out how to create a new one or move on and get better. So
I could literally talk about this all day, but we're going to move on. You studied ag in college, is that right?
yes, yep.
And so what did you do? Well, first of all, where'd you meet your wife?
I met my wife at Illinois State University, where I went to school. She actually played volleyball there also.
She tall?
She is 6'1".
Your kids.
Yeah.
Mallory's her name. So when you were going through all this with the football, you were married to her?
Yeah, so we got married in 2014. Yeah, we got married in 2014 in June, and then it was actually going into camp a month later that I tore my Achilles, and she had to put up with me and take care of me at the house.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I've done a horrible job with this interview, so I'm going to jump ahead. You're now farming.
Yeah.
On her family's farm, correct?
Yeah, so I came back and started working with her father-in-law, Verneil Leggett.
Mm-hmm. And you had some ag experience, but you never farmed, is that right?
No, I didn't grow up. Obviously, grew up in somewhat of a farming community. Was always interested by it. Never really got involved due to always being busy with sports.
Yeah.
So
okay. Sometimes it goes well to work with family. Sometimes not so well. I mean, were there some hurdles?
Yeah, I think there's been hurdles, and there always is. But we've figured out how to work with each other, and he's been patient with me, and then gotten on me when he needs to get on me. As I learn how to manage at a high level, how to navigate, and how to take on more and more stuff within the operation. So it's there's been growing pains, absolutely, but
not just farming. Anybody that works with family.
And
if you have no arguments,
it's hard when you're around somebody that much, at work plus outside of work. There's bound to be some heads butt. But
you're gonna have bad days.
Oh yeah, bad days. Yeah, yes, yeah. We're tired when everyone's tired in the middle of harvest and just yeah.
All right. So you also you're a dealer for Wyffels?
Yeah, I'm a seed rep. I have a dealership there with Wyffels hybrids.
Okay, not everybody knows what that means, like the people that are watching. So what do you do?
We so basically for me at the farm level, I go around and sell seed. That's what I do. But Wyffels hybrids we're just a seed corn company. That's all we sell. Mm-hmm. We don't do chemicals. We don't do beans. They're based up in Atkinson, Illinois. We just broke ground on a new production facility in Iowa, and it is a third-generation family-owned farm family company. So a lot of their morals and everything aligns with me, and I get to, I have no problem knocking on someone's door and selling them some seed.
I bet not.
Yeah.
You don't knock like this.
Yeah.
It's more the, yeah. Wyffels didn't sponsor us, so we'll probably just cut all that out.
That's probably, that's going to have to be.
Tell me how that goes when you show up to a farmer and you try to sell them seed. They probably know who you are.
Yeah.
And you probably talk football and all that. Are you able to close that sale at the end?
I try my hardest, and football is a great conversation starter, and most of them do know. I mean, I don't go around talking about it a ton, but obviously small towns talk, and a lot of the guys know, and it is a great way to have a conversation with somebody and at least start opening some doors. But you still gotta kind of put your salesman hat on.
Tell me about moving into being a coach and a speaker and those type of roles.
Yeah, so I've kind of taken on some youth coaching roles. It's been a lot of fun.
Do you yell?
Working. I try not to.
Come on.
But I did have my first flag football practice with kindergarten, first grade boys. So there might be, we know how those little boys are. So there might be some hollering that goes on. But no, it's such a fun time, just pure form of the sport and trying to get to help mold them with some skills and life lessons. And then, yeah, a couple speaking engagements I've been asked to do. And I enjoy telling my story and telling, tribulations I went through, what worked for me, what didn't, how did I get through them, and just try to share that with people and give them something to maybe a crutch to lean on or think about when something's tough.
Well, you walk down the streets of Peoria and you say, hey, how many professional football players have you met? They're either going to say 0 or they're going to tell you the names of everybody. So you're in a small club of people that have been able to make it to the NFL. So wanting to hear that story and wanting to be inspired by you, because I mean they want to grow up to be, I don't know, a lawyer. They want to be a football player in that. So that's gotta feel cool.
It does feel cool. I mean, yeah, I try not to, I did something exceptional, but I don't ever try to put myself above anybody. I mean,
your
the
height
good
does
Lord,
that.
Yeah, the good Lord blessed me with some abilities, but in features, and I mean but I had to put a lot of things together, and I try to reiterate that to people that there's a lot of ways to overcome many things, and it's a lot of work to do.
Illinois Soybean Association awarded you their 20 under 40 award. Okay, so I mean, you've had a ton of success on the field. Now that you've moved into this agriculture career, farming, it's got to be cool to be recognized for that.
Yeah, it was. I knew I got nominated, and I mean, I was like, okay, and the knock on the door came, or the phone call came, and said, hey, yeah, you're a 20 under 40 this year. And it was actually a really enjoyable moment for me. I don't do what I do for recognition, but, I'm trying to do things at a high level, trying to set a standard. And there's been a lot of hard work behind the scenes to get to where I'm at. And for someone to take notice of that and to kind of show me that I am on the right track. Because, I mean, I think you're always questioning yourself, right? Am I doing things right? Am I doing things well enough?
Never.
And to have something come through and say, hey, you've been, nominated and awarded this, it was a very good feeling.
Yeah. Farmers, we're probably under 1% of the population. It's hard to get people to understand what we do, right? Because they fear being dangerous because we're producing their food, and we have a hard time explaining, how safe everything is and how nutritious and affordable everything is. The 1%, you're so small, utilizing someone like yourself that has already a platform and already is going to get people's attention, I think is invaluable. So as a farmer, you really don't have a choice. You have to speak up.
Yeah, and that's what I've come to find out, because honestly, I've never been much of a talker, but I've figured out that, that I do have somewhat of a platform, and I want to advocate in a positive way and try to do a lot of these things for the ag community.
Are you on the social media?
I am.
Where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram, Cody White 56, Twitter handle.
5'6"?
That was my number, 56.
Oh, I was going to say.
In college, yeah, number 56.
I thought it was...
Twitter's Hank_it56.
Okay.
Like Hank It, that Justin Moore song? You got to Hank It.
Oh,
yeah.
That's what you named
Kinda
your Twitter.
Kind of like a country, turn up, what do they say, turn up these days?
There's
it's kind
a
of the
lot
country
going
version.
in and ahead of yours, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just
This was like 2007. I was in college. I didn't know Twitter was going to be what it was.
Well, cool. Like I said, to me, someone like yourself, that can talk to people that I can't, because I can rattle off the top of my head. People aren't going to listen. You, knowing that you're a professional football player and, you know, the story and getting people into that, you're able to communicate what I do as a farmer to other people better than most. So I want to thank you for that, because it helps. What you're doing helps my farm, and I really appreciate that. I know others appreciate that. Obviously, the Illinois Soybean Association appreciates that. So thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
All right. Well, I think now's the time where we arm wrestle.
Okay.
Or we'll just end the show. Cody White, thank you for being on the show. Really, really appreciate it. Everyone else, we'll catch you next week.